Hello everybody! Today I'm going to show you how you can turn an old sweater into a pencil skirt. That's today on Refashioning with Rachel. First, let's cut off the sleeves. We're going to be making a fun little bonus project with those. So measure the length of the underarm seam to the sleeve, copy that measurement to the top of the sleeve, connect the two measurements with a line, and cut. And set them aside for now. And now moving back to the main body of your sweater, fold it in half, carefully lining up the shoulder seams and the side seams. Then grab a pencil skirt that fits you well to use as a guide. Fold it in half and lay it on top of your sweater, lining up the folds. You want to have about 2 inches of seam allowance above the top of your skirt. And then trace around your skirt, adding 2 inches for seam allowance to the top of the skirt and 1/2 inch of seam allowance around the side seams of the skirt. And cut. Lay the pieces with right sides together. Pin up the side seams. And sew. Start at the bottom so you can make sure the ribbing is perfectly aligned before you start to sew. This way we can just use the ribbing as the hem and we don't need to hem the skirt. If you're enjoying this video so far, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow. When sewing through the ribbing, try to make the stitch straight and go along one of the grooves in the ribbing. This will make the hem much nicer. And since this sweater fabric didn't fray, I did not bother to finish my edges, but you can serge them or use a zigzag stitch if you'd like. Now we're going to hem the waistband. Fold over the raw edge 1/2 inch, then fold over another inch, and make a stitch close to the fold. I had some nice horizontal lines on this fabric, so I didn't bother making any marks or measurements. I just followed the yellow line in my skirt. But go ahead and make some measurements if you're not feeling as confident. Stop sewing when you get about 2 inches away from where you began. We want to leave a 2-inch gap in the stitch. Cut out a piece of elastic long enough to fit comfortably on your waist, plus 1/2 inch for seam allowance. And use a safety pin to feed it through the gap in your waistband. Double check that the elastic did not get twisted. Then overlap the ends of the elastic 1/2 inch and secure with a stitch. Stretch out the waistband a little bit so that the elastic gets evenly distributed, and then stitch closed the gap that we left earlier. If you find that your ribbing is a little bit tighter than the rest of your sweater material, you can stretch it out by pulling and ironing at the same time. You just want to stretch it out a little bit so that it hangs nicely and does not bunch up at the bottom. So here's a reminder of how this sweater looked before. And here's how it looks now. But we still have those sleeves left over. So let's make some silly leg warmers. Measure down 1 inch and then another inch all around the top of the sleeve. Then, as with the waistband, fold it over 1/2 inch, and then fold it over another inch and make a stitch close to the fold. Leave a gap so that we can put an elastic through it later. And in this case, we're folding over to the right side of the fabric. Cut out a piece of elastic that is half as long as the opening of your leg warmer. Then cut out 2 12-inch lengths of ribbon or string or anything you have on hand. We need 2 per leg warmer, so 4 total. Stitch the ribbons onto the ends of the elastic. And use a safety pin to feed it through the opening in the top of the leg warmer. Make sure the elastic is centered and stitch it down through the back seam so that it doesn't shift around. And now you can adjust the tightness of the leg warmers depending on how tightly you tie the ribbons. And all of these nice sweater scraps make nice stuffing for things like pillows and toys because they're nice and squishy. And here's our fun little bonus project. And again, here is the main one. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe and comment if you did. And have a beautiful day.